podcast episode 2. Brilliant Persuasion, the Language of Influence and Persuasion, hosted by the author Stephen Young. Welcome back to Brilliant Persuasion. I'm Stephen Young, and if my name sounds familiar, it might be because of my book Brilliant Persuasion, published by Pearson Press, one of the world's leading educational publishers. You'll find it on Amazon if you're curious, or perhaps you've attended one of the many seminars I've delivered across the United Kingdom. In this episode, I'll introduce 3 foundational language patterns that increase your ability to influence conversations. I'll use a real-world example from a recent seminar to show you how powerful these techniques are when combined. In episode 1, I mentioned that while I was giving a seminar, the recruitment sales director presented me with a significant challenge, and dare I say a test. He'd successfully headhunted several senior managers from a company, and now he aimed to re-engage with the managing director of that same business to retain him to find replacements for the very individuals he had removed and placed with his clients. As you can imagine, the relationship was strained. Today, I'll introduce each technique separately, offer examples, and then combine the phrases to give you the word or language pattern used so successfully by the sales director. Each technique is effective individually. Combined, they establish a strong framework for addressing objections, realigning the focus of a conversation, reducing resistance, building rapport, and guiding clients, prospects, friends, and family towards your goals. So let's review Pattern 1, the agreement frame. Here's something you've likely said. First you say yes, then you say but. As brilliant persuaders, let's drop it and take it out of our vocabulary. Permanently. I don't mind sharing. I cringe when I hear people use it. Not because it's wrong, because there are smarter ways to use those same words and create far better outcomes. We'll explore the correct use of these words in a later episode. And I can assure you, you're going to be surprised at the power of these tiny words. When you say the word but, you unconsciously reject the other person's position. This creates resistance, breaks rapport, and puts them on the defensive. So instead, we use the agreement frame. Most people like it when others agree with them, and we tend to like those who agree with us a little more, don't you? It's human nature. Demonstrating even minimal agreement instantly reduces opposition, slightly lowers your prospect's guard, and creates deeper rapport. This means that phrases like, "I agree," "You're right," "I agree, I couldn't have said it better myself," signal to your prospect that you agree with them, and your prospect picks that up. And for that moment, their resistance lowers, and they are psychologically correctly positioned to receive the next language pattern. Now, this is the critical point. You must always follow agreement phrases with the word "and." Here are some examples. I agree with the principle of what you've said, and I agree, you're right, and I agree with your reasoning, and if someone says something you cannot agree with, you can still say, I agree, you've said that, and I agree. Some people might see it that way. And remember, you're not surrendering here. You're building a bridge leading us to our second pattern. The redefine. The redefine is a very clever technique because it effortlessly enables you to reframe anything anyone says to better serve your objective. It follows a simple structure. Here it is. The issue isn't X, the issue is Y, where X is the concern raised by the other person and Y is the more relevant point you want them to consider. Here's a simple sales example. The prospect says, "Your prices are too high." You respond, "I agree, you're right. Most of our blue chip clients said the same at first, and the issue isn't price. The issue concerns long-term consistency, more reliable delivery, and ultimately less downtime for your business." You're not denying their objection. You're redirecting it and steering the conversation to a new, more persuasive path. Let's apply that to our recruitment case study. The managing director says, "You've got 2 minutes. You're fearless, wanting to speak with me. Why would I ever retain you to replace the people you just headhunted out of my company?" Imagine the sales director responding, "I agree, you're right. And the issue isn't that I influenced your team to leave. The issue is that you've experienced firsthand how relentless I am to find top talent for my clients, and that means my reach in your industry is current and second to none." Did you notice what happened? The objection was acknowledged, reframed and redirected, and now we are set up for the third pattern. The complex equivalence. A fancy name for a simple idea. When we say either, "and that means," or "this means that." The two examples I've just given represent the structure of the pattern. You can use this structure verbatim or follow the pattern without using those exact terms, which is subtler because you don't draw direct attention to what you're saying. But both work. I more often prefer the subtler version, as it creeps up on the unaware listener and quietly embeds the idea I want them to think. So, complex equivalent statements are linguistic shortcuts that allow us to create links between ideas, even if those links aren't logically proven. It's like saying this happens, so that must be true. As persuaders, we actively use this technique to subtly shape meaning into our conversations, to lead the listener to believe what we want them to believe. Even when you've connected two ideas that aren't necessarily connected, it passes unnoticed. And here's the thing, most people do this automatically without thinking, so everyone uses this technique. Now, if you actively listened to me a few seconds ago, you'll have noticed that I just used a complex equivalence to say something I wanted you to believe, and to make the conversation flow in the direction I want, and to show you how subtly a complex equivalence can be integrated into a conversation. Did you spot it? Your aim is to purposefully, and that's the crucial point, purposefully plan to use this technique and not follow the public, who normally have no idea of the persuasive techniques they use and the impact they have on others. I can assure you, upon completing this podcast series, you'll be able to identify when others unknowingly use persuasive language without intending to persuade, and you'll be equipped to actively apply these techniques to achieve the results only you can imagine. For those of you who didn't notice my complex equivalence, I use the "this means that" structure without using those exact words. Let's review it. I said most people do this automatically without thinking. So everyone uses this technique. Or most people do this automatically. This means that everyone uses this technique. The message here is that complex equivalence phrases are used every day by most people. My aim is that you actively choose to use them to effortlessly lead people towards your objectives. Returning to our sales director's response, using all three techniques together. I agree, you're right, and the issue isn't that I influenced your people to leave. The issue is that you've seen my commitment to deliver the best people for my clients. And that means, looking at it pragmatically, I'm the only recruitment consultant currently working in this sector with up-to-date market knowledge. And just like that, the objection becomes the reason to move forward. Imagine being able to reframe resistance, redirect objections, and subtly guide others toward your desired outcome without pressure, force, or sounding salesy. These techniques allow you to do that, and it doesn't take years of training. It just takes a little practice and intentionality behind your words, because real persuasion doesn't feel like persuasion, it just feels right. Thank you for listening. If you found this episode valuable, share it with a friend or colleague. Please follow the podcast, comment, or leave a review. I read them all and try to respond personally. to boost your new skills. Remember to download the accompanying worksheet for this episode. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep getting brilliant at persuasion. I'm Stephen Young, and I'll see you in episode 3 with more truly effective persuasion techniques.